Hi, today we're going to be learning how to install ArcGIS Pro on our computers. So for Windows platforms, to start out, what you're going to need is an Esri account, whether that's your personal account or preferably one that's been assigned to you by UNT professionals. You'll also need an Esri authorization code, and you can get that from one of your instructors. It should start out with the letters EVA. And to install ArcGIS Pro, first we're going to download it. And so we're going to go to this link here, esri.com/en.us or -us. Well, you can see that here. This is going to be for the desktop student trial. Enter here. And it's going to ask you to log in to activate your license. I already have an Esri account, so I'm going to sign in with that. Okay, now that I've entered in my information, it's going to ask you to activate your ArcGIS for Desktop trial. This is where you're going to enter your authorization number. Like I said, the format is going to start with EV. You're going to put that in here to access the download. Okay, I went ahead and clicked on the authorize button, and it'll bring you to this screen here that asks you to select a version. This is basically the same version you use to download ArcMap 10.7, which is here, but you can also use it to download the latest versions of Pro. Top button here. You can click anywhere on this button to or download the newest version. It's going to ask you to please follow these steps. You can read through all these things. This is basically just something that ensures your computer is capable of running ArcGIS Pro. And from here, it's going to be the very top one, the ArcGIS Pro here, and we're just going to hit download. It's pretty sizable, so it's going to take a little bit to download, so give that some time. We're going to go ahead and hit download. It'll open a new window. And if you are using the Chrome browser, that download will start right here. We're just going to go ahead and skip ahead because this is going to take 3 minutes, and I'm sure you don't want to watch 3 minutes of downloading. Okay, now that we see ArcGIS Pro is finished downloading here, bottom and part of my screen, you can either click on this to run the exe file, or you can click on the arrow and hit open, or you can hit show in folder. If for some reason this doesn't show up, you can press Control-J on your keyboard, and that will bring up your most recent downloads. Or you can also go into your downloads folder on your computer. That should be located under PC, downloads, and there's everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this though to run the install program. This is a very large file, so it's probably going to take quite a while for it to get everything done. You can hit the default on this right here unless you'd like to store your new installation in a separate drive other than the C drive, but I'm just going to go with the default here. So we'll click next. It's going to unpackage everything and extract it all into your computer. I'm unsure how long this might take. It's really going to depend on the speed of your computer and see how long it'll take to extract all these things. But it looks like we're starting to finish up. And come on. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to launch the startup program. Just keep this clicked, hit close. Startup program should launch. Just hit next on this screen here. You can read through all this right here. Accept the master agreement, hit next. Let's just go ahead and hit for all users here. You can change this default, but I'm not going to do that. We'll hit next. You can click to participate in this. It's your choice, really doesn't matter that much. We'll hit install. And this is the part that will take quite a while. So we're just going to go ahead and skip forward to something more relevant. Okay, so as you can see on my computer, it has run through all its processes, and it says ArcGIS Pro is now successfully installed. Click the Finish button to exit this installation. You can uncheck this if you want, but I'm going to keep it checked because I want to run ArcGIS Pro now and see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and run ArcGIS Pro. Might take a little bit to pull up. I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead to getting ArcGIS Pro pulled up. And now we see it's initializing. It may take a second to open. ArcGIS Pro, like I've said before, is a pretty large, pretty processor intensive program. It usually takes up a lot of RAM while it's opening and running. So the slower your computer is, the longer it'll probably take to run ArcGIS Pro. Okay, so the first thing that will happen is it'll say ArcGIS Pro wants to access your ArcGIS Online account information. I had mentioned at the beginning that you would need that, and you should have been able to log in to get to download the program in the first place. You'll want to enter your username and password here, and once you've entered that information in, ArcGIS Pro will open for good. You can, if you have a project, you can go ahead and open that, or just to create a new blank template. If you'll see that the difference between ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro, that you can open up a blank template straight from here. It's pretty nice. When we open just a regular blank template, you'll want to save it as a project. We'll just call this sample project. Pay attention to where this is stored. Projects by default will go into your username, documents, ArcGIS, and then projects. It's a special project folder. You can change that if you like. I just prefer to use the default. Keep this checked and we'll hit OK. And we'll wait for it to create a project. There we go. And by default, you'll see that our catalog is automatically appearing over here. And you'll see that the interface is much different than ArcGIS, or I'm sorry, ArcMap. And it'll automatically come up with your, your location map. You've got a topographic map that loads in automatically from Esri. And you can play around and explore some of this stuff. You've got your map tools here. You can add base maps from over here. You can add your data here, or again through our catalog if you have some data you'd like to insert. You can do your inserts here. This is where you would do your geoprocessing analysis. Processing here. And you can play with some of the views here, not a big deal for right now. Editing bar here is where you would do some of your line editing or polygons, points, things like that. Play around with imagery, have it. Yes, and there's lots of different things that you can do. At some point, you may want to work in ArcGIS Online Maps. You would use share toolbar for that, right? But Basically, that's how to install and run ArcGIS Pro. And that should be it for this lesson.